Let's speak now to Bishop Marothi Mashashane, the South African National Christian Forum's president, about how churches will be celebrating Easter differently in this new normal. Bishop, good afternoon. Thanks so much for your time. Now, earlier this week, you said that you would turn to the courts if government were to place any further restrictions or bring about any new regulations, especially over the Easter weekend. Are you satisfied now with what you're being allowed to do in terms of church services?
Good afternoon, and thanks for having us. We are partially satisfied, but not completely. The reason being, yes, we are delighted that the churches are not shuttered down altogether. And again, there's that little bit adjustment from 100 to 250 in-house. And 500 from 250 the outdoors. But we're still having a problem because all that we were trying to convince the president was that at least for our mega churches, if it was allowed a half of the normal carrying capacity. Because if you look at it, Uveka, other institutions, like we are saying, always our point and concern is the inconsistency of the government in applying its regulations. We've got churches that are not allowed to carry 100% or even 50% the mega churches, but you've got the casinos and other sectors that are not given the limitation. For that reason, we feel that, yes, it is a relief for small and medium churches, but for our mega churches is still a concern because we requested at least a 50%.
Well, Bishop, I do understand that, you know, the comparison with places like casinos, but I'm pretty sure that there are restrictions there as well as to how many people can be in a casino at any given time. There is social distancing as well. So would it not satisfy you to maybe just wait this out and see how it goes, especially with the third wave predicted to be hitting us soon, the third wave of COVID-19, just to sort of see how the Easter weekend goes, just to see how the next couple of weekends go in terms of services that are allowed and numbers that are allowed in churches, just to err on the side of caution?
Indeed so, but I should guess that churches have already demonstrated themselves that they can adhere to the scientific precaution measures. In other words, the very same standard that is given to the casinos, to the cinemas, to the restaurant, can be given to the churches, the mega churches that I'm talking about, to say, yes, in this capacity, this is how you can conduct yourself, and this is the precautions. Remember, Uveka, ever since the pandemic arrived, our mega churches never had to meet. They never had the Easter conferences. They never had Christmas. They never even opened, because even now, when it was given 50 and 100, there was no need for them to meet. If you've got 3,000 members, how can you accommodate 50 people? And again, the same measurement given to a casino, measuring the distance, it is the very same that can be applied to the mega churches, because obviously their space, it's an auditorium of 3,000. So if it is a 3,000, you cannot fail to make a distancing, social distance for 1,000 people.
But are churches or religious places like that adhering to these rules, Bishop? What directives have you sent out to church leaders and congregants for the gatherings they will be having this weekend to make sure that all of this is in place?
Thank you very much. I just said, but I'm going to repeat in short. Ever since the pandemic, all our members, they've got what we call compliance officers in their churches. Before you enter, your temperature will be taken. You will have your name registered, your contact, and your addresses. They will make sure you've got your mask. And inside the churches, there is the markings of the chairs, which is 1.5 separated from each other. And every hour while the service is on, the ushers keep on sanitizing people. And our churches are no longer prolonged for more than 2 to 3 hours. Now, for this Easter, we have spoken to our members and even convinced the president that our members are not going to increase the number by bringing a number of branches in one place to celebrate. They will be celebrating the Easter conferences in their local churches, just like the way they were attending their Sunday services. And there is no cooking. They are not going to cook like we normally do. And again, no camping. Like normally we would go and camp in a certain place for that 3 days Easter period and come back home. So all those are cut off.
All right, Bishop. Well, it's good to hear that, you know, such strict rules are being put in place. But if you can just indulge me in this, there is a sentiment out there that the reason, you know, churches are making such a big deal of this and wanting those numbers has got to do with tithes, has got to do with what people actually put in that plate that's passed around in church, and that religious leaders feel that they are missing out on the money that comes in by actually having people physically in church. I'd just like your response to that, and also in terms of whether that will be done in terms of COVID protocol, whether or that won't form part of services this weekend, because obviously, you know, sort of passing on money, passing on where people actually put their money into would also pose a bit of a risk.
That cannot be denied, that each and every organization or institution sustains because of the people that are supporting or belonging to that organization. It is for that reason that indeed, as church members, we do contribute. But at the moment, most of our members, they are no longer based on cash. They've got a speed point. They are using the speed point system to avoid the exchange of cash. So we do discourage those people who are saying it is wrong to bring money in church. Churches are not subsidized. Churches are not sustained by any, and they are carrying a huge responsibility. They do support even orphans. They do support the families. People have lost jobs. They are getting food parcels from the churches rather than from politicians. So all that, it comes from the members who contribute. There is no way that we can avoid the contribution to sustain each and every institute or sector, including the religious sector. Religious sector, like other sectors, does have its workers, its employees, which we call them religious practitioners. They need to be looked after until otherwise, when the government would consider us like it's supporting the artist. Let it happen also with the Christianity.
All right, Bishop Marothi Mashashane, I wish you a very happy Easter weekend. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Still